doing like a simul thing, like where they go ahead and get the rights earlier and like do the dubs at the same time. Like I heard something about that, but
I
it
don't
seemed very
think that's a
plausible.
real thing. That seems crazy, even crazier than the other things.
Yeah.
That's even crazier than an alien abduction. The alien abduction is much more plausible than stuff you just said.
Absolutely.
Not happening. So other questions about the stuff and the thing?
So stuff and things.
Stuff? No. Oh, hand, yes. I can barely see you back there.
Sorry about that. Has there been any projects that you have auditioned for that maybe have been really, big anime that, that you did not get, or projects that you came really close to and you auditioned for? That would just
Well,
be a,
I mean, I don't know how close. I mean, there's most of the stuff you audition for you never get. So, like how close you would get, I mean, I have no idea. There's no way to know like what close would be, or either like I figure you get it or you don't get it. So.
I mean, like, did you audition for Sailor Moon, or?
No, they did Sailor Moon in Toronto. Right. So.
Or like Inuyasha?
No, they did that in Vancouver. So.
Okay, so
yeah.
neither of those.
Yeah, so I'm not even in the areas where they record that. One thing I did find out that was interesting is I worked on the fairy tale movie Phoenix Princess or Priestess, whatever it was.
Did you see that?
Sorry, it's one of those
You can
things.
watch it now.
Princess, whatever. Anyway, so I worked on that, and I played this little funky bird character that looks kind of like a Tweety bird called Momon. And I found out when I went in to do the part, I did not audition for that, but I found out when I went in to do that part that the director, Tyler, he said, you know what? I had saved your audition. I auditioned for Happy, which is a cat. And that had been like 4 years before. And so apparently I was really close to getting that, even though I didn't know. All I knew is I didn't get it. And even though he didn't pick me for Happy, he really liked that audition, and so based on that audition, I did the part of Momon. So, I mean, that's maybe an example of a thing like that I could tell you about. I honestly, with anime, I don't do that many auditions. Most of the time with anime anymore, it's kind of like I just get booked to do the job. But there have been lots of auditions that I have done for anime that I didn't get, but there have been so many more auditions that I did for commercials and other kind of voiceover work that I don't get. I mean, like the vast majority of them that I don't get, and you just audition and then you don't get it, but that's like normal. Like if you do get a job, it's like, oh my God, I got a job. What? It's super exciting to get a job. So it's such a rare and incredible event to occur. Yes.
Have you ever worked with Chuck Huber?
He and I have worked on the same shows, but we don't ever work together. But I know we both worked on Full Metal Alchemist is one of the things.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And I'm sure there are many other things that we both worked on, and I just can't really tell you what they are right now. I'm sure he's in One Piece. Everybody's in One Piece.
Is Victor Nona in One Piece?
Everybody's in One Piece.
I think everybody's in One Piece. Aren't you in One Piece? I mean, Brad, everybody's in One Piece.
He's One Piece, you're One Piece,
We're all in One Piece. I don't know. It seems like we must be. I don't know. It's gotta be more things. I don't know. But see, that's the thing is it's hard to know since we don't record with each other. There are plenty of people that we've worked on the same shows that we've never met. And that happens like, now Chuck I've met a bunch of times at conventions, but there have been a lot of times I go to a convention and, the other actors there and I'm like, oh yeah, oh hi, it's very nice to meet you. And what, you don't all know each other? No, we don't all know each other. Especially if you live in different cities, but I mean, even if you do, there's a lot of the voice actors in Houston that I don't know for sure, especially newer ones. Back in the really booming times of dubbing, back around 2003 and 4, when they had a bunch of studios going at one time, you would go in and there were so many actors just milling around. It was like an infestation, really. They were just everywhere, and so you couldn't turn a corner without running into some voice actor. Oh my God, that was just Hillary Haig there, you know?
Yeah.
You'd be just running into people all over the place, and so kind of that was part of it too. It was like knowing other people. It's just that we would kind of all be there around the same time, or we would come in and maybe do commentary tracks together, or things like that, or walla groups or something. But now, you know, I very rarely see other actors. I mean, sometimes I do, you know, when you happen to be kind of coming and going, or you're working in an adjacent studio, but there's not, you know, 8 studios running at one time now. It's like 2. So it's different. It's a different time. It's not the old golden days. Yeah.
Would you prefer to work side by side with the other actors if you had the chance, like go off?
You know,
what they do and stuff?
there have been a couple of shows where we've been able to do that, where you've had separate isolation booths. Usually, practically, it's just not even a practical thing to be able to do it. But if you have, you know, certain shows that lend themselves to it, for example, on Dirty Pair, the 2 main characters, Kay and Yuri, all of their scenes are always together. So when they recorded all those different versions of the Dirty Pair series, whoever the actors were that were playing Kay and Yuri, they always recorded at the same time because all of their scenes were together. So in other words, you wouldn't be like recording and then you sit down and wait while someone, you know, how would you do that, you know, if there were all these other people that your scenes were with? Because in most shows, you know, any given actor, their scenes would be with a whole bunch of other people. So how could you possibly schedule that to record it? It just, you know, logistically is completely impossible. But there was a show that we did called Go Danner. And one of the things about Go Danner was that it was these teams of giant robot pilots. So for all of the scenes that those people had together, those teams, they would have them record together, and it worked really well because in the context of the show, the 2 characters were partners, and they would always be working together. So that was really great to do those scenes like that, and you could see the other person in the other booth, and it was a really neat chemistry being able to work with that person, but most shows just don't really lend themselves to it. But I have to say, the few times that I've done it, it was really great. It was pretty freaking awesome when we did have the chance to do it. Very cool. Yes. You were going to ask something, or no?
Yeah.
You changed your mind.
Oh, I thought I would let Justin go first. What was I gonna ask? Oh, yeah. What interaction, if any, do you guys in the voice acting community and here in America have with the Japanese studios, you know, as a whole?
Generally, not much.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was mentioning for when we re-recorded on Ava 3.0, Dan Kanemitsu was in the studio from, you know, as a representative of the studio Kara. That's pretty unusual, though. There's usually not a lot of interaction. That's done like at a higher level, you know, between the licensors and the licensees about, you know, what certain aspects that they want in a certain way, or, you know, just any of that is done beforehand. It's not really in the studio. There was a really crazy show that my husband directed years ago called The Fucons, which basically it was mannequins. Do you remember those old Navy commercials like, "Hi honey, how are you doing?" "I'm really good." Yeah, so it was that, except they totally stole that from The Fucons. So The Fucons was this really, really crazy, bizarre show about these mannequins, and it's hilariously, I mean, like, pee your pants funny. It is really funny. Anyway, so my husband was gonna direct it, and the director of the series in Japan wanted to come, and he did, and then they had an interpreter who was there.
That's cool.
And, you know, so there was that, but it's not ideal to have two different directors that are speaking two different languages trying to direct. You're trying to direct someone in a language that you don't understand. It's a little tricky. There was a video game I worked on years ago called Unlimited Saga, and the original Japanese creator was in the studio, and Kyle Jones was directing it, but the whole time the Japanese director was there with an interpreter saying things, and it's just kind of awkward, you know? Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's a little
I can see
weird.
it.
It's like we kind of do know what we're doing, so, you know.
Yeah, and I mean,
Maybe.
Ano being Ano, I figured that was
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
obviously
well-
excluded from that question.
Look, when Matt was directing, when Matt Greenfield was directing the TV series, there was so much back and forth over that, like sending the scripts back and forth and getting things back with red marks all over it and changing this and changing that. And so then they had to have these, you know, long distance arguments about why things should be a certain way and why you cannot call a singular person cannot be a children. So, yeah, you know, little things
Was it
like
Ano
that.
that said that?
Huh?
Was it Ano that wanted us to keep
Yeah,
saying children?
yeah. If you see a lot of the old Evangelion merchandise, yeah, Asuka is the second children.
Yeah, yeah.
Shinji is the third children. The problem is that in Japanese, they do not have plural forms of words, so
Yeah.
there's not even a concept for that. There's
Yeah.
not, in the Japanese culture and language, there is not a concept of a plural form of words. So I guess when they like read a translation or whatever, that a young, immature human is a children. Instead of, so like the difference of child versus children, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe just
But-
in their little dictionary that they came across was children, and so they were firmly convinced that these young people, that each of them was a children.
Yeah. Like they have like a basic mechanism, like using like tachi at the end of a word, make it like multiples. Like that happens sometimes with people.
Yeah.
That's probably more so because children, I guess, sounds cool. That's usually what like in English. It sounds.
Yeah,
cool.
they usually just like things that
Yeah.
sound cool.
Yeah,
Which is
loan
why a
words.
lot of times the lyrics with the crazy English words in there
Yeah.
are so awesome. Like one of my favorites from Blue Seed, which was Pick Me Up Foxy Night Game. I always wanted to pick myself up a Foxy Night Game. Take it easy, dangerous night.
Dang it.
Yeah, you know, the words with the things. So, oh, I went over my time, and there's probably people that are coming in here to see the next thing, and so I'm done. Anyway, well, thank you guys. I'm gonna just go back. Obviously, they finally won the battle about the children. You know, they were willing to negotiate on some point, but that's just one of the
And that's the
things.
odd thing is like they